Alrighty then. Here we go. Alright guys, I got kind of like a little tutorial for you on the how we set up the acrylic piece on that multi-layered panel that's gonna, or display that's gonna light up with edge-lit acrylic instead of it just being all wood or whatever material you want to use, because this is a pretty simple technique that I like to use to get lights into a design, even though it's going to be like significantly smaller than like what the design might originally be. It's I like them. I like them. Excuse me. So what I've got going on here is these are all the original mandala panels for this one. Now I'm not going to get into how I've cut each one into a rectangular portion. That gets really time consuming. Well, can be really time consuming, and it will probably vary depending on the design you're trying to do. Like, you might end up having to really do a lot of like manual line connections. Like on this one, the original pieces, all of them are individual line segments that have to be connected into shapes and whatnot to start cutting. Yeah, you're gonna start talking now? No. I ding. Anyway. So yeah, we're not gonna get into all of that. What we're gonna focus on is creating the back panel that is gonna become, that is the acrylic piece that's gonna light up. So what I've got here is 5 layers out of the 7. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the acrylic layer is going to be a duplicate of layer 4. Now I'm deciding to do that instead of making layer 5 or even layer 6 the back, because layer 4, I like how large the design elements are. I think they're a good size to let a good amount of light travel through the acrylic piece. So we're going to duplicate layer 4 and turn it into layer 6. So it goes on the back and slots into the little LED light bases. And I'm using the ones that you can find on just Amazon, pretty much everywhere. Really easy to work with. So let's go ahead and make that. I'm going to grab a duplicate of layer 4 right there. I'm going to close that. I don't want to save that. Get that out of my way. And to start out, I'm going to make sure that it is all ungrouped. Oops. And I'm going to make sure it's not a compound path. I'm going to release that. Good. All right, so yeah, now I can click on everything individually. But now I'm going to grab it all together. And I'm going to hold shift and let go of the outside border. Now I have nothing but the internal design element selected. And I'm going to turn that into a compound path by doing Control 8, or you can go to Object, Compound Path, and Make. Now this turns, for lack of a better way to describe it, it basically makes all that one piece rather than a bunch of individual pieces. And that's going to let us apply the gradient to all of it at once rather than individually. So up here, I'm going to grab the gradient panel tool thing, and I'm going to apply one. And we're going to go with the linear gradient because we're linearly going to go from bottom to top on this engrave. So click it, and that's what we're going to see. We're going to see a scale from white to black. Now it's angled the wrong way. We want the white on the bottom and the black on the top. So that's easy to fix. We've got the angle thing right here, and we're just going to go ahead and plop that in at 90 degrees to rotate it. Click, like so. And then, because white means no, it won't engrave at all, and black means the darkest engrave it's gonna do, at least on the Glowforge. I'm gonna make this one, well, it already is. Okay, I already had it set up for that. I think my gradient automatically defaults to being slightly gray instead of white. But that's what you'll want. You'll just double click this node and get it off of the white, whatever the true white is. You want a little bit of gray to it. So I usually pick this one or this one. And as you can see, they'll change. But let's go there. All right, so now that the gradient is on the panel, we need to make this an engravable panel as an image so we can make use of the gradient itself. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a new artboard. I'm just going to pop that in there like that. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to grab this, Control C, Control V, onto our new, and we're going to export this as a PNG after we do a couple more things. First, we're going to get rid of our border line. We don't need that. We don't want to see that in the engraving at all. We also don't want the stroke because it's going to engrave that as well. And if we have a black or whatever color stroke, it's going to turn that into, it's going to translate that into some amount of depth. So no stroke whatsoever, just the fill, which is a scale, gradient scale. And this is all we need. So we're going to go to File, and we're going to export as. I've already got one done here, but as an engraving. So engraving, it's going to assign it as a PNG. Well, make sure you assign it as a PNG, and then click Export. Mine says I already have it named. Do we want to replace? That's fine for me. Now on the options, we want to make sure that the background color is transparent. We don't want white or black. White might be fine, but just to make sure transparent so there's no extra colors in there for it to see and engrave. I'm just going to hit OK. Ta-da! I'm just going to close it. It's going to ask if I want to save. Since I don't want it as like an Illustrator document or SVG, I'm just going to hit no. Now, we're going to open up where I saved that as, or where I saved that, which is right there, tutorial. Engraving, right click. I'm going to open this one up with Adobe Illustrator. It's going to bring it into a new artboard, but that's fine. Control C, and then we're going to Control V, copy and paste that one into where we're working. And since I'm just going to use this panel right here, I'm going to click all that and get rid of the center stuff, all the design elements. And then we're going to center align our new just image piece into that box. And there we go. That's basically it, except for we got to add the tab that's going to slot into that light base, just like this one. So I've got my tab right here, kind of made one already. My light bases are, the slot for the acrylic is about 80 millimeters wide and about 12 millimeters deep. So that's what I got right here, this little rectangle. And I'm just going to get it lined up like that with this cut line. And I'm going to use the Pathfinder tools to unite them into one piece. And there we go. And I'm going to Control G. Yeah. Blam. And that's how we get that panel. And I used it as the backmost because you're not really going to be able to see through it once it's engraved. It'll still let light through, but there's nothing to see on the other side. Like I said, I'm not going to get into the cutting and sizing of these different panels because that's really where it can become time consuming and a little bit difficult, especially if they're like these ones and all individual line segments. Not too bad. Kind of got the blue to represent where the light will shine through. And you just take all your layers, you would cut them as normal, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the only difference is for your last layer, it's the one that's going to be slotting down into the light base. It's just done from the acrylic. And then you get, just, that's it. Really nothing else to it. I mean, you could get fancier, I suppose, kind of do like framework on the outside or really you know, maybe do a vertical one, or like a really tall. The sky's the limit. You can do this with pretty much any kind of design. You just got to create the back layer with the engraving, and that's how you do it. Pretty easy, guys. I have faith, but if there are questions, feel free to reach out.